Alice Springs, deep in the heart of the Australian outback. And for the first time in ANDRA Drag Racing Series history, Group 1 Championship racing arrives at the Desert National. The unique 8-mile layout of the Alice Springs Inland Dragway will be a real test for the Top Doorslammer Top Gunners. Welcome to the Desert Nationals. We're here in the outback of Australia, Alice Springs, a place that absolutely lives and breathes motorsport, and a lot of that is thanks to the incredible support of the Northern Territory Government.
The Northern Territory Government's really behind both these tracks, and Darwin in particular, the Chief Minister was up there, and I think it was a record crowd, and the response from the crowd, we've been going there for a lot of years, like way back in the 80s. It's really great to be able to perform there because they're really receptive to out-of-towners, if you put it like that.
The best thing about coming to places like Alice Springs is the atmosphere. The people out here are outstanding because you can go to one of our local tracks and have 25,000 people, but you can come to a place of Alice Springs with 3,000 or 4,000 people on the hill, and the atmosphere is 5 times as much because the passion, they don't get it as much as we get it, so that 1 or 2 times a year when they do get it, they make the best of it.
The crowd comes to watch us. We're here for the show. We love putting on a good show for the crowd. So they pay their money to come in the gates to watch us, so we do our very best to put on a great show for them. Darwin will runner-up. We qualified, so we come to Alice Springs, we want to qualify. And then if we can, go well, each meeting we want to qualify first and then take race day as they come along. So we always want to win for sure.
The track record's 3.92 at 188 mile an hour, and we went 4:07 yesterday with a couple of pedals and 187.5, so we're real close. I think if a bit more rubber builds up on the track and it's a little bit warmer today, I think we should be good. It's a matter of survival. If you don't win, you're not going to pay the bills. So, we really need to start at the top of it to keep sponsored and to keep getting a return, to keep paying the bills and keep it all going. Otherwise, it'd be tough losing all the time, that's for sure.
My excitement about drag racing is the nature of the beast. You've got 3,000 horsepower underneath your foot. They go everywhere but straight. You've got to manhandle these cars, so it's always fun driving them. 0 to 100 in under a second. They do 5.8, 5.7 seconds over the quarter mile at over 400 kilometres an hour. What's more to love than that?
Welcome to the Alice Springs Inland Dragway, known as ACID, round 2 of Top Doorslammer action. And joining me in commentary, the 3rd fastest man in the universe, Aaron Hambridge. Welcome along, sir.
Thanks again, Lockie. It's good to be here.
Mate, we're going to see some magnificent action. We look at the championship ladder after round 1 up in the top end, and it's Gary Phillips who leads from Mark Valeri, then Ben Bray, John Zappia, Grant O'Rourke, Victor Bray, Sam Fennick, and Mark Chapman.
Yeah, a lot of these guys will be looking to get a few extra points here in Alice Springs to try and make their way up the ladder, but we'll see what happens.
Now, Alice Springs, important to point out, not over the quarter mile, but over the 8th mile, just given the new track and the weather conditions.
Yeah, new track and the weather. The guys at the last minute decided to cut it back to 8th mile for safety reasons, so I agree with that totally. Good choice.
Aaron, qualifying results here. John Zappia fastest through.
Yeah, Zapp leading the field by a pretty decent amount right there, nearly a whole tenth of a second. Not unusual for Zapp, but given his form in Darwin, that's good to see.
How about this? The mad professor Robin Taylor missing out. He was involved in that smash with Andrew Sutton in qualifying. Real hectic stuff there, but Robin Taylor misses out, as does Gary Phillips. I mean, he had the win, Nitro up north, and now we see him not even making it through to the sudden death rounds.
Yeah, very unusual for Gary to not qualify.
First up in round 1 of elimination, we've got Sam Fennick up against Victor Bray. Now, Victor Bray, the old campaigner of this competition, we saw him in Alice Springs back in 2003, and he certainly made a mark. A good mate of mine, Aaron, up here in Alice, Paul Little, a guy they call Palucci. In his garage, he's got a pub, the Blackstone Pub, and he's got a signed photo of Victor Bray. And he's the sort of bloke who came up here, as I say, 13 years ago, made a huge impact on the scene, and now we see him taking on Sam Fennick.
Yeah, you go pretty much any restaurant, Hog's Breath Cafe around the country, and you'll see stuff signed by Victor Bray. He's the most popular guy out there, has been for a long time. The guy's world famous in the category. you just can't go past Victor for being the king of Doorslammer in Australia.
Right, the king of Doorslammer, and his son Benny's here. We just heard from him a little bit earlier on the show. How do you see this one drilling down? Interesting conditions. We're over the 8th mile. Who perhaps has an edge here?
Listen, if you've got to go by experience, you think Victor should have this race done. Sam only new to the category. A lot of experience driving door cars, but not in Doorslammer so much. He ran a car with 10.5 tyres on it, so a lot smaller tyre, different transmission, very similar engine, but a lot lighter car. It's run just about as fast as a Doorslammer, but these things are a completely different animal.
Hey Aaron, speaking of animals, these blokes have got to be absolutely fearless. What's going through their head right now?
Right now, just coming back from the burnout, going in the stage, your head's all on the job. You're not really worried about what's going on around you. You're just listening to the engine, you're tuned in. You're just running through what's going to happen, staging the car and leaving that start line. It's a real different thing. As soon as you get in these cars and the engines fire, all the nerves go away. You don't actually feel nervous as the cars are going to the stage at all.
Fascinating hearing that expert insight. Aaron Hambridge joining us in commentary. We're about to get underway. It's Fennick against Bray. Fennick to the left of screen there in round 1 of elimination action here in Alice Springs. The Top Doorslammers. And over the 8th mile, it's Fennick.
Wow, Sam's car was on rails there. That was a perfect run. Victor a little bit loose off the start line, getting a little bit crossed up, but yeah, just a quicker run by Sam and really taking it to the veteran of the sport.
The Garmin Verb replay, fantastic. As you say, I mean, Victor Bray, he had the superior reaction time marginally, but the pace down the straight there, beautiful work there from Sam Fennick with an ET of 4.299. Takes it out and works his way through to the second round here in Alice. And up now, Grant O'Rourke taking on Mark Chapman.
Yeah, Grant's car's been on form pretty good lately. Didn't do too bad in Darwin, but that thing's really fast. He's probably the second fastest guy out there to zap over all the last season. He'll really take it to Chapman on this run for sure, I'd say.
As you can see there, qualified 6th, Mark Chapman. And his pushback girl, Michelle, currently on the tools now and known as Hot Lips and likes to be known as Hot Lips. The Police Academy character, Michelle, doing a magnificent job.
I can see a slight resemblance there.
Absolutely. Very athletic and doing terrific. So, Mark Chapman there, just rolling back from his burnout. Grant O'Rourke to follow suit. It's O'Rourke v Chapman with Fennick already through. What can you tell us about Grant O'Rourke?
Listen, Grant's got to be the shortest guy in the field. Nah, Grant's a really good guy. I've known him for a long time. He runs this whole deal mainly out of his own pocket, and I know what it's like to do that, and it's a real struggle. But to go out there and mix it up with the best guys and be one of the fastest guys out there on your own budget, and with a lot less experience to an extent, and a lot less parts than what a lot of the other guys got, it's a real achievement for him.
Yeah, the financial aspect of that huge, and it's fascinating hearing that insight from you. I mean, how do you make it work?
Perfect example is if you look at Grant's car, it's matte black. My dragster was matte black. You forgo things like fancy paint jobs and airbrushing. You make sure you've got the best car parts and the best car there, but you forgo some of the fancy things, the fancy trailer, the fancy paint jobs. You go there and just make sure it's all about the race car.
Did you have a pushback girl?
No, I didn't.
There you go. All right, Chapman, furthest from screen. Let's see how they go. Chapman, a little bit of wobble for both down there. O'Rourke, superior effort there. And Grant O'Rourke, an ET of 4.14.
Yeah, you can see both cars. As soon as they get about 330 feet, they're sliding around all over the place. And Grant actually pulled the chutes there early, which helped pull the car straight. So if the car's moving around, starting to slip and slide, pull those chutes, and it'll actually pull the car straight and make it easier to drive.
So Grant O'Rourke goes through to the third round. And up next, to see who'll meet him there, it's Mark Balleri up against Ben Bray. Balleri, the runner-up last week in Darwin. Let's have a listen to how he saw his form.
Darwin, we had a great weekend. Qualifying wasn't so good. We qualified 6th and we just couldn't get the track conditions right. But come into race day, we come runner-up against Gary Phillips in the final. And we unfortunately broke the transmission and Gary got the win. Alice Springs, the first time I've ever been here, so it's a good excuse to come to do some drag racing, which we love doing. Coming from Darwin, where it's been 34 degrees all weekend, to come in here to -1 at night and 12 during the day, bit of a shock to the system. Me and Benny, we've been racing a long time together, so it's fun. It's a good challenge. Me and Benny enjoy racing each other, so no, we're excited.
There you have it, Mark Balleri, bridesmaid last week, looking to put on the veil this week. about Benny Bray? Fascinating character as well, Aaron.
Yeah, I've known Benny for a lot of time now. For probably one of the youngest guys in the field, he's probably been racing more than just about anybody except his own dad.
Well, there they go, Benny Bray. Oh, yeah, so impressive. Valeri had the superior reaction time. Have a look at the stats here on the Garmin Verb screen. So it's reaction time for Valeri, 0.058. Bray of 0.12. But it down the straight there, magnificent work from Benny Bray. And here he comes, the Rolled Gold champion, John Zappia. 9 years in a row, this man has been the #1 top door slammer. And he takes on Matty Abel, the territory zone.
Yeah, Matt's really going to have to bring something here. He had a whole bunch of problems last week in Darwin. Steering, getting out of control into burnout. Something exploded under the car one of the runs. I assume he's got it all fixed in a week just to come back and make it here, and he's qualified, so that's a good start.
And see, Zapp did the whole 8th mile burnout. That's one of the biggest burnouts you'll see from Zapp as he's just prepping.
Yeah, Zapp's one of those guys. He likes to put on a show. You'll see the burnout things. You're going to get arguments from different races, but generally just enough to get the water off and get a little bit of temp in the tyres is enough. But if you want to put on a good show and make it look impressive, go as far as you can.
Ever the showman, John Zappia. You see the bloke behind Zapp's car there? That's Lumpy, who's been in Zapp's crew since he was 17 years of age. I don't want to guess Lumpy's age, but it was a few years ago that he joined. And you know, Zappia's crew all work as volunteers.
Yeah, they do. Those guys they've been around for a long time. They've all been crewing with Zapp forever. They're a good bunch of guys, and they love that car just as much as John does.
John Zappia gets a little in towards the centre line. Abel struggling to maintain control, but it's Zappia who gets it done. An ET there of 4.00 takes out Matty Abel in the first round.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw there, Zapp took a fair bit of time coming into stage. Matt's car runs with a 2-step, so what that means he comes into stage, puts his foot on the clutch and goes wide open throttle. Zapp took his time coming in there, which can play havoc a little bit, and obviously it helped him get the win.
There you go, it sets up our semi-finals. O'Rourke to take on Ben Bray, Fennick to take on John Zappia.
Anytime you race Victor Bray and get a win, you're doing pretty well. And we're new to the sport here at the Top Door Slammer. We're very excited about getting a round win. We're always looking to go a little faster, a little faster. We're watching what the track's doing, what the air's doing. Yeah, the track was a little bit skatey yesterday. I think it's coming around. It's getting better with every run, so yeah, we're looking to go a little faster.
Make sure you stay right here, because on the other side of this, it's semi-final action from the Top Door Slammers in Alice Springs. We're here at the Alice Springs Inland Dragway, round 2 of Top Door Slammer ANDRA action, and we see John Zappia there. There's my mate Lumpy behind there with the big, thick moustache and beard. We're getting a great insight into the Zappia crew at work, Aaron.
Yeah, you'll see how far drivers and racers go just to keep the weight down. If you look at Zapp's helmet there, it's made of carbon fibre, especially when they're about 3 to 4 times expensive as a conventional helmet.
Yeah, spend the coin, well worth it, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we look now, semi-final action. It's fascinating. It drills down to this. Grant O'Rourke taking on Ben Bray. Ben Bray on left of screen, O'Rourke right of screen. Aaron, how do you see this one going?
This is going to come down to whoever can get the power to the racetrack. The track's a little bit down on rubber, hasn't been raced on a lot since it's been resurfaced there. It's going to be whoever can manage the power so much, not who's got the most. Even to an extent, it's going to be almost less is more. So the less power you put to the car in certain points of the track, the more the tyre will stick. All the cars in the last session you saw getting really loose, and it was basically whoever could keep their foot in the throttle longer. It's going to come down to whoever can manage that power, which is usually controlled by ignition timing, to get these things down the racetrack.
So much goes into it. Great getting the insight of Aaron Hambridge, the 3rd fastest man in the universe as of what we saw at Nitro up north. Absolutely blowing that to smithereens. And now we have Grant O'Rourke taking on Ben Bray for the right to compete in the final here in Alice Springs.
you look at these two cars, you look at the rear wing. Grant's wing really laid down very flat, small little wicker on the back there. Ben's rear wing, bigger spill plates on the side, a little bit more aggressive. That's really going to help with keeping those rear tyres planted on this racetrack.
Hey, what sort of rear tyre pressure these blokes run?
You'll see most of these guys run between 6 and 8 pounds, but that varies on a lot on the type of rear wheels they're using, the brand of tyre they're using, whether they use a bead lock, which is what's on Ben Bray's car, or whether they use a tube and liner. So a liner contains an extra tyre inside the actual slick. You pump that up to around about 40 pounds. Some people think that reduces the possibility of tyre shake by decreasing the volume inside the tyre that can wobble around and shake during a run.
And Ben Bray closest to us, and Ben Bray getting real close because he's bloody hammered this one home. Ben Bray makes it into the final. How about that? Betty Bray, an ET of 4.08, gets it done. The Garmin Verb replay here, we see O'Rourke sort of going in towards the centre line, then retained a bit of composure, but not quite good enough.
No, you can see Grant's car there from the second he stood on the throttle. It had a cylinder on the right-hand side out, which is very unusual for an alcohol car. It could be caused by a few different things, a dead spark plug, a plug lead that's not working anymore, some kind of ignition problem.
Fascinating to hear about the technical aspect there from Aaron Hambridge. Let's hear about this track here in Alice Springs from the man himself, Mr. John Zappia.
This is a brand new track. It's one of the nicest tracks around. Unfortunately, it hasn't got enough rubber on it yet. You know, for our cars to have traction, we need virtually a coating of rubber from start to finish. And then when they put the traction compound on, that makes it sticky. The more and more laps that go down the track, the more rubber gets put on, and it gets further and further out. Problem is, you need big powered cars that smoke the tyres from one end to the other to put that rubber down, so it'll take time. Over the next year, they need to just put some effort into getting the rubber down, and then by next year, this track will be one of the best.
The Don Bradman of our sport, 9-time champion, he's bloody near invincible. John Zappia closest to us. On the other side of that, how about the challenge? Sam Fennick trying to take this bloke on.
You got to think Zapp's going to take this one here. Like I said before, Sam's only new to the category. He's really proven his way though. He's running good. He's made the semi-finals against John Zappia, the best guy in the sport.
All the chatter around the track here in Alice Springs is whether Zappia can break the track record. Let's see what he can do here in the semi, and then maybe a tilt at the final. Zappia, so quick with the reaction time, so quick down the track, 305 clicks, an ET of 4.00, the chutes go out, the arms go up, and John Zappia is through to another final.
Yeah, you can really see John taking the long way down the racetrack that time. If he was meant to cover 200 metres, he covered about 250 there. The guy's not scared, I'll give him that. He drove that thing all the way to the finish line. Sam pulling the chutes a little bit early there, his car moving around. Nothing you can do about that.
There you go, the final is set. John Zappia to take on Ben Bray.
We've had a consistent race car, and we've toned it down to suit the conditions. So the Fuchs Monaro's got the track speed record of 189 for the 8th mile. We tried a little bit harder on that one, but sort of got out of the groove, and I had to pedal it and get it back in, but we've still been consistent 400s, so we're trying to break into the 3s, but the main thing is we're trying to win the meeting, so that's the most important thing that we're worrying about.
Well, Aaron Hambridge, it all comes down to this, the final of the Top Doorslammers here in Alice Springs. Mate, it's been great to be here in the Red Centre.
Yeah, it's been really good up here. The track's been a little bit cold, not a lot of rubber down, but it's been great racing. Both cars ran 4.0s last session, so it's going to be a great final.
Bloody freezing this morning, it was about 2 degrees. All right, we're on board now with John Zappia. Would you say this bloke's invincible?
Listen, nobody's invincible. Zappia's the best guy out there at the moment. That's no secret, but no one's invincible. He makes a lot of runs. He makes a lot of runs at home in Perth. That car there, especially compared to Ben's, that have 10 times the amount of runs at least, if not more.
Continuing on the great legacy of his old man Victor, Ben Bray, he now is in a final. We spoke to him this morning before racing commenced.
Anyone that knows Team Bray, that's all we are. We're all about family. This is what we enjoy doing. and I don't think we'd do it any other way. I guess every time we get to race together is a better day. The pleasure of places like this, I think it brings us all back to a level playing field. John's definitely a lot smarter and probably a little bit better driver than most of the guys here today, including myself. So, you know, the idea is to keep the car consistent, put the pressure on him and hope he makes a mistake.
Does he make a mistake? This bloke, it seems rare that John Zappia makes mistakes.
Yeah, he doesn't make them very often, and a lot of the time that guy can make a mistake and still beat the guy in the other lane. But I don't think that's going to be the case on this day. Him and Ben are pretty evenly matched coming into this run, so John's going to have to be on his A game here.
So for Benny Bray, what would it mean? I mean, he had some big wins back in the 2000s, but now to try and get an early stage win here, a second round of action, jeez, be big. And away they go. Zappia with a most magnificent start. Bray not far away. And it's John Zappia who has absolutely blown the track record to smithereens. 312 k's an hour. That's the fastest anyone has ever driven in the red centre. John Zappia, the 9-time champion. He's come here to Alice Springs. First time they've ever seen Group 1 action. And he's put on one hell of a show. It's John Zappia who takes out the top door slammer. How about this, Aaron Hambridge?
Yeah, that was a great run by John. Straight as a die. The thing really hardly moved around at all. He had that thing planned. You look right there, though. Ben was right on him. It was a really close race. Zapp actually pedalled the car there. I don't know if you heard that. Just after he leaves the start line, he has to get off and back on. So he was obviously having a real good crack at that racetrack.
Yeah, the Fuchs Monaro has been flying all weekend. We finally thought, well, we don't need to run the quickest, but which we were, but we just wanted the car consistent this weekend. After Darwin, we were the quickest, but we weren't consistent, and that bit us. So we just thought, no, slow it down a little bit, and let's just get the car in the show and keep it there. And you know, it ran 4.0s all weekend, and finally a 3.96, which is a door slammer 8th mile track record. And we've got the overall track record of 193 mile an hour. So pretty happy with the weekend. Take the car home in one piece. Used one Noonan engine all weekend, Darwin and here, so that's all going well. And big shout out to the crew that worked their butts off for the last few months, or for the last 10, 20 years, but they've all done a great job, and all the sponsors that support us, Janani, Hot Shots, Speedmaster, plenty to list, but thanks very much. Woohoo!
John Zappia, after 2 rounds of top door slammer action this season, he leads the championship board.
Yeah, he's caught up in points, put himself on the top. He's doing really good. Ben Bray right there with him, though. He's not a whole lot behind, 30 points, not a big gap. Mark Valeri probably would have liked to go a round or two further this weekend, but eventually for him it didn't turn out that way. Still in third, good respectable place to be.
Well, Mark Valeri gets another chance at the Adelaide International Raceway. That's our next round of ANDRA Racing, the 3rd and 4th of December. Been great fun up here in Alice Springs, Aaron.
Yeah, thanks again, Lockie. Great place to be. Enjoyed the racing. Great show.
On behalf of Aaron Hambridge and myself, it's goodbye from the Red Centre. We'll see you next time in Adelaide.